Clara Bow rose to fame in the silent era of film. After appearing in the 1927 film It, in which she played a plucky shopgirl, she earned the nickname the It Girl. Throughout the Roaring Twenties, she was one of the decade's most beloved and popular stars. She's often described as that era's leading sex symbol. Following the silent film era, Clara successfully managed to transition to talkies in 1929. She appeared in 46 silent films and 11 talkies, including box office hits like Mantrap and Wings. No stranger to controversy, Bow was once rumored to have slept with the entire University of Southern California football team. While Bow was certainly known for being promiscuous, many have called this accusation either exaggerated or entirely unfounded. Join Factsverse as we attempt to get to the truth of this persistent rumor. The origin of the rumor. Clara Bow was just as well known for her risque off-screen antics as she was for her films. Throughout her time in the spotlight, she had several high-profile affairs with members of the Hollywood community. Ultimately, these led to her developing a rather salacious reputation. One of Bow's former secretaries, who was stricken with jealousy, named Daisy Devoe, decided to take advantage of Bow's rocky reputation with the public by publishing an unauthorized biography about her that outlined a number of blatant lies involving the world-famous actress. The most significant and controversial of these claims was that Bow, who was allegedly a big fan of the USC football team and was said to have frequently invited members of the team to her home for parties, had actually partaken in an orgy with them. The public, always eager for a nice juicy scandal, took Devoe's bait hook, line, and sinker. The rumor followed Bow for the remainder of her life and possibly even contributed to her decision to retire from the film industry. Bow fought back against the lies by taking Devoe to court. In reality, Bow's relationship with the USC football team was pretty innocuous. It's true she'd hold parties for them, but these shindigs mainly consisted of harmless dancing and late-night dips in her pool. She did once go out on a date with the team's quarterback, Morley Drury, but nothing came of it. Drury himself even attested to that fact. In the end, stories like these and other details about Bow's personal life during the court proceedings over Devoe's book led Clara to suffer from several mental breakdowns. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse for more, and stick around for more about the rumors of Clara Bow. Daisy Devoe was falsely convicted of grand theft. One of the downsides of being a rising star in Hollywood is constantly being surrounded by predatory people who merely want to capitalize on your success. This is a sad reality Clara Bow knew all too well. It is said that at the peak of her success, Clara was being robbed blind by her business associates, manager, household staff, and even her relatives. On top of that, Paramount had her under a pretty brutal contract that had her working to death while lining their bank accounts. In early 1929, Bow was on the verge of bankruptcy and losing her house when she hired Daisy Devoe as her personal secretary to help manage her finances. Bow then opened up a separate bank account in which her paycheck would be deposited. Devoe used this account to pay Clara's various bills. A little under 2 years after hiring her, Clara managed to achieve financial security. And since Devoe had deposited half of Clara's salary into a special trust account, she had nearly $250,000 in savings, which was quite a bit back in those days. Devoe was fired, however, in November of 1930 after she lost a power struggle over Bow's finances that involved Bow's then-boyfriend and future husband, Rex Bell. Rex had strongly suspected Daisy was stealing from Bow. When she was let go, Devoe requested she be given a severance package. Bow interpreted this as an attempt at blackmail. When Devoe tried to explain to her she didn't want anything but her jab back, Bell promptly called the police. LA District Attorney Bern Fitz was in good with Paramount studio execs. Upon their request, Devoe was arrested on November 6, 1930, and was interrogated reportedly for 27 hours straight, all the while consistently denying she'd done anything illicit. She also refused to sign a confession, stating she had stolen cash from Bow. Devoe was jailed despite the fact she hadn't officially been charged with anything. She was also denied the right to contact her lawyer. Shockingly, Fitz even illegally raided her safety deposit box without obtaining a warrant in an attempt to find some kind of incriminating evidence. After she was released, Devoe filed a false imprisonment lawsuit against Fitz. Firing back at her in retaliation, Fitz convinced a grand jury to indict her on 35 counts of grand theft. Each one of these potentially carried up to a 10-year sentence if she was convicted. Devoe's trial began in mid-January 1931. The atmosphere surrounding the LA County Courthouse was described as being like a carnival, as thousands of people showed up to witness the spectacle. The trial likewise got international media attention. While LA Assistant DA David Clark tried to paint Devoe as a villain, he couldn't manage to produce any proof that she'd done anything wrong. 3 days after the trial had commenced, the jurors found Devoe not guilty on 34 of the 35 charges. It's rather strange, though, that they still found her guilty on one last charge, as the so-called evidence presented was spurious at best. Regardless, the judge showed Devoe little mercy, as he was also quite chummy with the execs at Paramount. She was sentenced to a lengthy 18-month prison sentence. Unflattering details came to light at trial. Clara Bow's personal life was laid out for all the world to see at the trial. Numerous revelations related to scandals that she'd been involved in previously were publicized during the court proceedings. Bow's success as a public figure relied heavily on the public's perception of her. So while Devoe was sent to prison, Bow arguably suffered just as much. After the trial, Bow had a handful of mental breakdowns, and despite her vulnerable condition, Paramount insisted upon her returning to work to finish up a film she'd already been in. After that film flopped, Paramount became convinced that Bow was no longer a profitable asset. They also felt like her scandals had made her more of a liability. Without Devoe to help her out when she was in a bind, Clara was conned out of another $60,000 when Paramount suddenly terminated her contract in the summer of 1931. And just like that, a half year after Devoe's trial, Clara Bow was no longer a film star. She managed to make a bit of a comeback the following year, but after appearing in 2 modestly successful films, she left show business for good at 28. When she retired, she made good use of the trust account and the savings in it that Devoe had set up for her. Daisy Devoe's curse. After Devoe was wrongfully convicted, she confronted her prosecutors David Clark and Bern Fitz and told them ominously that both of them would meet a, quote, bad end because of what they'd done to her. Daisy's biting words ended up coming true, as 4 months after she'd been sent to jail, Clark was charged with double murder. In 1973, Fitz committed suicide. After being released, Devoe married and started working in the aircraft industry. She later retired in 1968. While she might not have exploited Clara Bow in the way that she was accused, she never quite got over how things had transpired. Her previously unauthorized biography about Bow, while being full of factual inaccuracies, certainly made a discernible impact on how the public perceived the It Girl for years to come. Clara Bow's retirement and death. After marrying Rex Bell and retiring from cinema in 1933, Bow and her husband opened a restaurant called the It Cafe in the Hollywood Plaza Hotel in 1937. After it shut down in 1943, Bow made very few public appearances. She did make one brief appearance on the radio game show Truth or Consequences in 1947. In 1944, while her husband was running for U.S. Congress, Bow attempted suicide. She had written a suicide note that said she preferred death to a publicized life. In 1949, she checked herself into a psychiatric hospital called the Institute of Living in Hartford, Connecticut, where she received shock treatment to treat her chronic insomnia, depression, and abdominal pain that was determined to be delusional. After leaving the institution, Bow did not return to live with her husband and 2 sons. She lived the remainder of her life in seclusion. She died of a heart attack in 1965 in Culver City, California. She was 60. Now it's time to hear from you. What was most surprising about this story? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.